discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/BG The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a no-rent-through review on Seasons of Inish, the expansion to Inish. This has actually been a long time coming. So Inish came out 3 years ago? Yeah, I want to say 3 years ago. Probably should look that up. But it has been my favorite Matago game that they have made. It's kind of like in that same era as Cyclades and Kemet, and then you have Inish. So I don't quite care for either of the other two games, but Inish was something that always sounded interesting and played very well. Like, it's a card drafting game in which you are also vying for control on the different territories in Scotland or Ireland or one of those lore worlds. It's a theme that isn't done a lot, if ever, and they do a really good job with like the folk tales and the lore, because like every single card, like Epic Tale card, has like a little lore to it in the rulebook, which I always think is nice. But they have like kind of this King of the Hill aspect where there are 3 victory conditions and you have to meet one of them. And then all you do on your turn is you announce, hey, you take a pretender token and say, I will win next turn. Then you kind of become the target. Everyone has to scramble to try and stop you from meeting that condition, and then you just go on and on like that until they can't stop you and you win. That's Inish. Seasons of Inish adds modules. It has multiple modules that you can add to the game, and however many you want in any combination. I think this expansion is fantastic because it does quite a few things. One, it gives you more cards. You just shuffle into the deck, and it allows for a 5th player. And if you're playing with a 5th player, you kind of change up some cards like that. So the different modules that are in here are what's called We Want a King, and basically shortens the length of the game, which I think is awesome, because in a game where you are playing King of the Hill and you're like vying for control, but then you become target and you're like, hey, I'm gonna win, just so everyone, hey, I'm gonna win. If they don't stop you in a 5th player game, or even in a 4-player game, in a 5-player game, or in a 4-player game, that can theoretically last quite long. So in that module, the We Want a King is the victory conditions are laid out. But when people meet those conditions, if there are tied players, then no one wins, but those tied players get a D token, and D tokens basically give you a +1 to one of the victory conditions. Then that tile flips, and it's called We Need a King, and everyone plays one last season, and then if people are still tied, if the Bren, which is whoever owns the capital, is one of those tied players, he wins. It's a phenomenal way to shorten the game. It makes actually vying for control of the capital even more appealing, because it's like, hey, 1, I'm going to go first, and 2, like, I could potentially win if I'm tying. I think that's fantastic, because whenever you can shorten the length of a game that is too long, but also still give you a great feeling of the game, that's good in my book. The second module that gets added is the islands. So in the game there are these island tiles that you shuffle into the territory stack, and if it gets revealed, it goes off on its own, like, separate thing, and like nothing's adjacent to it except other islands, and it can only be reached by tiles that have harbors. And some of the tiles start with harbors in them, which is really neat, because now you're not just vying for control over here. You can also go off to this to its own separate board and then vie for control over there. And the only way to get to there is through territories with harbors. So it just adds a little bit more like area to control, I guess. And I think that's really neat. The third module is the Seasons of Inish, which you might be like, well, I mean, obviously, it's in the name. So the Seasons of Inish, what that does is it adds a disc that have the 4 seasons on it, and you decide which one you want to start with. and these individual seasons give you a bonus in the, or not a bonus, but give you something in the assembly phase, which is whenever everyone is basically kind of, setting up, checking for victory, and then drafting the cards. And it also could give you a bonus in the season phase, which is where you're actually playing cards and doing your actions. I think this is really neat. This gives a little bit more depth to the game and gives a little bit more strategy, because in, like, for example, in the summer phase, like during the season, it's like if you are tied, or whoever has the most shared territories, meaning that, hey, I'm also here with you, but we're not fighting, whoever has the most of those gets a bonus for that. And if people are tied, then they both get it. The reason why I like this so much is because it actually helped me win. No, that's not true. But it did help, like, a lot, because clans come and go the entire game. Fighting is almost inevitable throughout it. So whenever you can get a bonus from each individual season, and also you know what those are, so you can be like, ooh, okay, I really want that assembly phase bonus, so I think in fall, so I think I'll try and meet that condition. It's just fantastic. And I have a sweet spot for like module expansions, because they typically don't bog the game down. And I mean, how could they whenever they're modules, so you get to pick what goes into the game. So if you're like, okay, I have this base game, well, here's the expansion. Some of them just dump a whole bunch of stuff in there, and you're like, oh, no, I have to learn this whole new, almost separate game to play the base game. It's like, sometimes it can be a lot. With the modules, it's like, okay, well, here's the base game. We know it very well. Let's add this piece to it, and then play with that. And then you have a whole new game with that module. And then you can be like, okay, well, let's remove that and play with this one. And then you just go on and on like that, and then you just always get a fresh game. And then you just mix and match any of the modules. I think this is really great. I love Inish, and I got to play it quite recently at a 5-player game, and it did not disappoint. Like, it's been quite some time since I played Inish, and I was like, man, I wonder if I even still like that game. Still love it. It's fantastic. Just the card play of it is great. The new cards that they add in here are also really good, and it's so cutthroat, negotiation heavy, and also like trying to like, okay, how can I finagle a win out of this one? And in the latest game, a friend of mine and his brother, like, I was definitely amassing a huge clan in the capital, and it was getting out of hand, and he was going to come in and fight me and kind of cull me down, but his brother canceled his card, and he's so mad. And I was like, oh man, I don't even have to try. Everyone else is handing me my victory. It's just great. More so than like there's more strategy to it than Kemet, I feel, and there's more in the player's control than Cyclades has. So I just think Inish is it's like the best of both worlds. And with this expansion, if you like Inish a lot, you should definitely pick up Seasons of Inish, because it's a fantastic expansion. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a 9, like a 9 out of 10. There's not a single module here that I don't like. So why isn't it a 10 out of 10? Well, it's because it's an expansion, and I mean, if I were to be completely honest, it doesn't change the game drastically, but that's also, I think, its strength. Like, it doesn't change the game so much that it's not even Inish. They just added a way to shorten the game. If you have 5 players, you can also play that We Need a King expansion with less, but it's meant for 5 players. And it even says in the rulebook, hey, if you're playing with 5, you should probably play with this expansion, and we did. So, but yeah, I mean, there's not like so much to it that it's going to be like, this is the best expansion ever, but it's a really, really good one. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on Seasons of Inish. Let me know what you think of the expansion and the base game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.